This is the School Success Podcast, a podcast for school leaders to learn from other school leaders what's working and what's not, and to get inspiration and encouragement, as well as strategies to grow school enrollment, connect with families, retain teachers, recruit teachers, and everything in between. You guys are heroes, and I cannot thank you enough for pouring into this next generation that's coming behind us. My goal is you will take at least one thing away from every episode that you can take back to your school to make it better than it is right now. Please enjoy the School Success Podcast. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at America's Christian Credit Union. This year, they're celebrating 65 years of service, and they're a credit union that specifically provides essential school banking services and an amazing tuition financing program for schools to reduce risk and administrative burden. You can check them out online, americaschristiancu.com/schools. That's americaschristiancu.com/schools. They are amazing. You need to go check them out. And now, enjoy today's episode. Hey, school success makers. Welcome to another edition of the School Success Podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Slater. And today I'm joined by, again, yours truly, Mitchell Slater, for today's episode. We're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to do a Q&A session. So we have some questions come in, and I'm going to try and break it up into probably a few different episodes. We'll keep these really short, like that mini series that we did a month or two ago, maybe that was. But we're going to do some questions that had come in. I'll answer those, and hopefully they're able to help you guys out with maybe something that you're going through. And of course, if you have any questions, please send them in. And we would love to maybe do this again and have some more Q&A sessions. So I read the first question. That's from Rachel, and he says, can you tell us about your previous experience in marketing for educational institutions? So I've been in marketing for about 13 years, just celebrated 13 years in business in March of this year, 2023. And I started my business when I was 17 years old. I was a junior in high school, and I told my mom, I said, hey, Mom, I want to start a business. And she's like, okay, but you're going to have to do it on your own. So I started taking classes at the local small business development center, learning how to start a business. I was 16 at that time and officially started my business when I was 17. But you fast forward 13 years later, and obviously it focused on, I wanted to help schools grow enrollment and do better at their marketing online. And I obviously just have a huge background in marketing specifically, and have always just tried to get better and better and learning all the new trends and things that are happening in the world of marketing. But that's kind of how I got to where I was. I had a couple school clients that I was working with, and I was like, man, we did really, really good for them. Like, we had helped one school specifically double their enrollment. So obviously brought them a ton more funding. I was like, oh man, we can do this for more schools. And that's exactly what we did. So we started to serve more schools, and I've absolutely loved it. Super, super fulfilling, and obviously super great people that I get to work with doing that as well. So good question, Rachel. Thank you for that. And then from John, he said, how would you approach developing a marketing strategy to increase enrollment at our school? John, good question. This will vary based on each school a little bit, based on, of course, your region, where you are, if you are a publicly funded school or privately funded. But my biggest thing is like, okay, who is your target market? Who is the clientele that you're looking to get your school in front of, that you can have come to your school? So it does come down to that a little bit, because if you're writing ads, for instance, if you're going to do some Facebook ads, Instagram ads, your marketing strategy for getting in front of them and how you're talking to them, how you're speaking to them, what you're showing and saying in the ads, it's all going to come down to that a little bit. So you guys got to figure that out as a board or as a group of teachers or whoever is in charge of that, of how do you want to put it out there. I'm a big proponent of your website is the foundation of your school, making sure you have a really, really good website that truly speaks of who you guys are as a school. So when people come, they're like, oh man, this is all the stuff that they have to offer. It answers their questions, and it's really clean, really modern, and it shows exactly what it is that you guys do. But for creating the actual strategy, you got to figure out, all right, how many students do you need? Do you need any at all? Or are you just specifically trying to get a campaign out there to market your school in general, so people just know of you, and you can hopefully build up a waiting list, which I know a ton of schools just want waiting lists. So we'll kind of come down to that, but I would start with your website, figure out what do you want to tell people out there, who is that target market, because it all comes down to who that is of what you guys want to specifically show them for your school. Hopefully that was helpful. But if you had some more questions on that, please reach out with another question on that. And from Sarah, so in your opinion, what are the most effective marketing channels for educational institutions and why? I'm assuming, Sarah, you're meaning like probably social media channels. So obviously there's a ton of them out there: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok. The list goes on and on. If I could easily throw in another one in there, it'd be, of course, Google My Business, or Google Business Profile is what it's now called. It's where you have the Google reviews online of schools. You definitely need to be on there. Of course, it's free to do that. And having a really good profile with pictures and your hours of operation, all that stuff on a Google listing. Because, of course, if parents are searching for, or when parents are searching for a school, they're going to be going to Google to look for that. So you want to make sure that you're present and on Google in a good way. And then if it was to go to the social media channels, you see that each one of them has a demographic of who is on those social media channels. So think about who is the demographic of the families that are in your school or who you're wanting in your school. Of course, as the years go on, it's going to be younger and younger people that are on there. So Facebook has tended to be now like later, like a little older, which I feel weird saying that because I've been on Facebook for so long now, and me now being in my 30s, the darn 30, but being in my 30s, I do actually enjoy probably Facebook more than the others, but I'm part of the older generation, I guess now, which is so weird to say. But Facebook, typically in the later 30s is what you're looking at for that. Instagram, you got 20s and 30s on that one. TikTok, it's kind of everything, but it is typically the younger generation, but 20s and 30s for that one as well. But kind of figure out where do you want to be, and where would those families that you want to be in front of also be. If I was to just pick, shoot in the dark, I would say you need to be on Facebook and Instagram for sure, like those main two. Of course, they're owned by the same company, Meta. So having a good presence on those would be the channels that I would hone in on, but specifically, of course, Google above all else. Make sure you have a listing on Google, because I think that's going to be the best one for you. Well, I want to try and keep these episodes short, so I'm actually I'll cut it off and I'll do some more on the next episode for the Q&A session. So appreciate everybody who sent in questions. We'll do some more for the next episode. If you guys are looking to connect, we have a private Facebook group just for school leaders, of course, on Facebook, and it is completely free. So go join that. It is for just school leaders. I'm personally in there, and I would love to see you in there as well. School Success Makers is what it's called. And you can, of course, find us online, schoolsuccessmakers.com. That's schoolsuccessmakers.com. We're launching a free newsletter called the School Success Report. Super stoked about it. It's going to have a ton of different things inside of it, with blogs, articles, news, highlights, and shout outs of different people that are rocking the world in education. So make sure you subscribe to that, because it's going to be awesome. All right. We will be back here next week, and at the moment with another Q&A session. So check back in next week for that, and we'll see you on the next episode of the School Success Podcast. We'll see you then.